Hello, Dr. Pineapple here. Are you or a loved one sick of the console gaming experience? Do you want to play through the biggest catalog of games known to man? And would you like to make a really good use of that gaming monitor you have? If so, you must be suffering from gaming consolitis. Signs of early gaming consolitis are just being fine with 30 frames a second.
Those games for me look better at 30 frames per second because they have that quote-unquote filmic quality.
Or thinking that a controller is better than a mouse and keyboard. If you or a loved one are showing signs of early gaming consolitis, my biggest suggestion is to first get... So I've used consoles for around 23 years. I've always found gaming on PCs really interesting, but just some faraway dream at the end of the day. My journey with consoles first started with the PS2 and the GameCube, then I played all of the 7th gen, then all of the 8th gen of consoles. I mained the PS4 and the Wii U, a little bit of the Xbox One, then I went back to the PS4, and then did the Switch. That's a weird family tree right there. I've got a pretty good grasp of what it's like to game on a console. I think I have a somewhat different and unique take on PC gaming. I've had a gaming PC for about a year now, and it's definitely changed my perspective, and I just want to share that today. So the first games that I ever bought on PC were Fez, Super Meat Boy, Republic Commando, and Plants vs. Zombies. And of course, Minecraft. I also did CSGO on a weekend. That is really fun. Gambling at its finest. Watch, the next Las Vegas resort is gonna be CSGO. And this was before it was free, so it had to be like 10 years ago. I did though try it on the 360, and wow, that was dog shit. It took me a while to transition to PC because I just found the whole thing too daunting. The mouse and keyboard, dropping a stack on a computer seemed like way too much.
I don't need to hear the perspective of a bunch of brokies who can't even buy it anyway.
I also thought that this would just collect dust and I wouldn't really use it at all. I was just worried that my PC would be used more for work rather than pleasure, and also kind of vice versa. I had spent countless hours in so many games, I just didn't want all of that to go to waste. Like, I wouldn't use my consoles anymore. Yeah, this has 1000% replaced my consoles. My main goal with owning a PC was video editing, then gaming would have come second. I also wanted to do some light streaming, but let's talk about the first step of having a gaming PC, and that's actually... Building a PC is an arduous task. A good homie of mine picked all the parts and just put it together. Wait, PC gamers don't have friends. I got all the components around the span of 3 to 4 months. I thought this would have taken me a lot longer. I was lucky enough to get all the pieces that I needed on a sale. I think maybe 2 things I paid the full price for, but it was like the RAM or something. With my friend building every part, I was there for moral support.
How did you know how to put this all together?
I had excellent health.
We didn't get to finish it though for like 2 months, but once we did, bliss was achieved. Wow. This is insane. All the launchers and all the games. I'll be able to finally play Sonic Lost World. I mean, I got a Wii U, but why would I play that? In all honesty though, I love the Wii U. That's one of my favorite consoles ever.
You didn't have to cut me off.
Only the sky and your imagination is the limit to what you can achieve on a PC. You may think that you could get a similar experience with just having a laptop and a console, but no. Trust me, it's not even close. Seeing the Windows home screen run at 120 frames a second is ludicrous. And to all the PlayStation fanboys that say 30 FPS is better because it's more cinematic, no. Who's at the theaters right now going, God, I love seeing 30 individual frames within a second. This is what makes a movie truly feel like a movie. Now, what makes a movie truly feel cinematic besides, you know, those 30 frames? Great characters, compelling story, setting and tone, cinematography, acting, plot twists, world building. If you really think that 30 frames a second is what makes a movie really feel like a movie, you're just wrong. Yeah, but if you look at all the movie clips that are 60 frames a second, it looks weird. That's because these movies weren't made with 60 frames a second in mind. You feel a lot more immersed within the game the more frames there are. And I'm not your average PC gamer who thinks anything below 60 FPS is unplayable. I'm more about frame pacing rather than frame rate. And yeah, I know if you have less frames, the fidelity looks better, but for most video games, I would say 99%, performance beats out fidelity. I mean, some of the greatest games were meant to be just 30 frames a second on consoles, but the extra frames do help just a little bit. Most games have either a fidelity or a performance setting like Darksiders, Knockout City, or Spider-Man. Most of the time, I'm gonna choose performance. But when I did play Darksiders and Knockout City on my Switch, it looked like it ran the exact same, so I just picked Fidelity. For a lot of people, modding is a huge reason to go to PC. Personally, it's not really for me, but I do think they look great. Modding is this kind of weird thing. I think one of my friends said it best, where your first playthrough of a game, you should just play it the way the developers intended to, but after that, just do whatever you want. I do kind of agree with that, but who am I to say how you should enjoy your game? And emulation is
Another
huge reason to go to PC. And no, I am not advocating for emulation for legal reasons. A nasty, vile word by the console gamers. Why do you care? I get it should be looked down upon if it's like a brand new game, like with what happened to Metroid Dread. Review sites were bombing Dread and saying you should just emulate it, and they showed step by step on how to emulate it. I'm surprised they didn't get in a lot more trouble than they did for that. Yeah, some of these websites do look pretty sketchy at first glance, but you're gonna be fine. There are a lot of games that are lost to time, and the only way to play them is through emulation. People who do emulate games, either A, there isn't a legit way to experience these games, or B, getting the physical game plus the hardware is gonna be way too much money. In some cases, there are benefits to it for the industry. People who emulate new releases never plan to buy the game anyway, and some games are either lost to history or there isn't any new legit way to play these games unless you drop a fat stack on hardware plus the game, and at that point, is it really worth it? I think that's why also Game Pass works really well. You have these consumers who are probably never even gonna touch half of these games, but Microsoft gives the consumer a chance to actually play them. And yeah, there are games with very weird and specific controls, but you're not gonna be playing that on a PC. I mean, who's out there playing Wii Sports on their PC? It's not for me, but I don't discredit those who do it. A debater's oldest talk. Of course the mouse and keyboard is better. You've got a ton more inputs and control over the mouse and keyboard than you do an actual controller. But for certain games, I do think a controller is better.
What you say is heresy.
And I'm talking about the standard controller setup. I'm not talking about the waggle controls or these insane rigs that people get for driving or Microsoft flight simulators. Those are catered to a very specific niche and audience. I feel like movement with analog sticks is a lot better than with computer keys, and action games also feel better too, like Spider-Man or Sonic, but FPSs reign supreme with the mouse and keyboard. My main FPS is Splitgate. It's like this arena style first-person shooter. It feels like Halo with portals. It is incredible. Nowadays, controllers are becoming a lot more advanced with the HD rumble, haptic feedback on the triggers. These are great innovations that break down the barriers between the player and the game. I cannot wait to see what more advancements we have going forward. But this mouse and keyboard debate is going to lead me to my next. Besides the controller setup, one of the biggest differences is how you're going to consume video games. Are you going to go digital or are you going to go physical? And yes, I know PlayStation and Xbox have their digital only consoles, but let's just kind of not focus on those right now. I definitely see the positive and negative in both. It's not just a simple black and white topic. Now, physical media is nice. You could trade, swap, or sell. Just do whatever you want with whatever cartridge, disc, or game card you have. Me and my friend that helped me build the PC would trade games all the time in high school. Hey man, here's that game. Thanks, homie. Can't wait to play the God of War collection and... Dude, what is this? It's in there to hide the game. Why would you put the disc in here? Because some dude out there is gonna steal God of War. Nobody's gonna steal Paper Towns. It's so alpha. Because the games aren't locked to your account, it makes it a lot easier to trade, swap, or sell any previously owned games with any compatible hardware. And it proves to your friends you have way less sex than they do! Digital definitely has a lot of benefits though. Having your games locked to your specific account or platform makes it a lot safer if something happens. If your game gets scratched, cracked, or crushed, you are fine. There's even a ton of delisted games or abandonware that you could just re-download if it's tied to your account. It costed me $60 to get Shattered Dimensions for the 360. I feel like if I was able to get that digitally, it'd only be like 15-20 bucks. I did learn recently that I'm starting to prefer digital over physical games a lot more now. So I did a summer sales job last year. If my Switch was hooked up to the TV in the living room, I didn't have my case or games with me. I was just a little too lazy to change my game cards, so I just didn't. My most played games last summer ended up being... Do you trust anybody doing this? So we've all heard the argument, I just want something to plug in and play. A PC you literally plug in and play. You don't need to pick every part and build it yourself. There are so many websites where they'll help you build your PC or just build your PC for you. Like, do the NZXT build. It's pretty easy. I personally decided to build mine because I feel like it kind of creates this personal connection when you build something yourself. And I kind of wanted that experience too.
I don't want to spend $1,500 every year to play games.
I got great news. You don't have to. Did you need to go out and buy a PS4 Pro when you already had a PS4 or an Xbox One X when you already had an Xbox One? No, you didn't.
I don't like the mouse and keyboard.
Have you ever used a mouse and keyboard? Yeah, it's a little strange, but you get used to it pretty easy. Plus, if you want to plug in a controller, plug in a controller. It's not that hard.
There aren't any exclusives.
Yes, there are. There's so many games that are on PC that aren't on consoles. And exclusives aren't all that they're held up to. Back off, PlayStation fanboys. I can only play the same cinematic third-person over-the-shoulder action games so many times. Plus, Xbox has been coming to PC, PlayStation has been coming to PC, Nintendo is obviously in the corner doing their own thing.
The games aren't optimized for the PC.
That's not really the PC's fault. It's the devs. And yeah, I totally get that frustration, but they do optimize the game sooner than later. I mean, there are a ton of games that weren't optimized for consoles. Or optimized at all.
Ugh, consoles are just easier.
You do bring up a fair point with that, but you're also used to consoles. After 2 days on my PC, I got the gist of everything. And if there was something I didn't understand, I got Google, and things are pretty easy to learn. Like I said earlier, my PC has completely replaced my PlayStation and Xbox. I still play them, but sparingly. Xbox has their own storefront on PC. PlayStation games are already coming to PC, and there's a rumor that they're coming out with their own launcher too, and I am really excited for that. Hopefully we get God of War and Sly Cooper. The Epic Games Launcher gives you free games all the time. And it's not like shitty ones, it's really good games like BioShock, Star Wars Squadron. What else do I have? There's like Ark Survival, Lawn Mowing Simulator, Superland, Toe Jam and Roll, Back to the Groove, Wonder Boy. This is pretty dope. And you don't need to like buy any service, they just give this to you if you create an account. But I gotta be honest, even though I love my PC, I don't think it's ever gonna replace my Switch. Only the Switch 2 will replace my Switch. I know that my PC is 10 billion times more powerful than my Switch, but the Switch fits my lifestyle a lot better. I think anyone even remotely interested in PC gaming has to try it. It's great for everybody, the hardcore audience or if you're a filthy casual. But what is more important than whatever platform you're playing on, we all get to enjoy this wonderful hobby of ours together.
What the hell was that?
And I'm not trying to bash anyone who plays on consoles or any console takes. I think all gaming platforms are valid. Anyway, dudes and dudettes, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to click that like and subscribe button and let me know down in the comment section below, what platform are you gaming on? Anyway, dudes and dudettes, you're never too old or too cool for video games. Major Pineapple out.